My name is Meg Applegate. I'm a survivor of the troubled teen industry, and I'm also the founder and CEO of Unsilenced, a nonprofit dedicated to ending institutional child abuse through transparency, accountability, and policy change. Today, we're here because of Provo Canyon School. What you've heard these courageous families expose is not an isolated incident. Unsilenced has identified similar experiences spanning the last 50 plus years of Provo Canyon School's operation through multiple different corporate owners. Because of this, Unsilenced has launched a formal investigation into Provo Canyon School to bring together decades of survivor testimony, expose the full scale of the harm, and demand accountability. If you are a former resident or employee of Provo Canyon School and feel like you have witnessed or experienced abuse, neglect, or misconduct, please complete our experience survey on our website at unsilenced.org. What you know could be critical to this investigation and to finally holding Provo Canyon School accountable for the harm they've caused countless survivors. I am now honored to introduce an incredible survivor and advocate who has transformed her own experiences into being a powerhouse of change. Her advocacy has led to the passage of 16 state laws and 2 federal bills to reform the troubled teen industry to better protect children. Please welcome Paris Hilton.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming today. 6 years ago, I told the world what happened to me inside Provo Canyon School. I was forced into solitary confinement, physically restrained, and sexually abused, all in the name of treatment. When I spoke out, Provo Canyon said that my experience happened under prior ownership, and that they were committed to the safety of their patients and staff under their leadership. But records show otherwise, and children are still paying the price. After hearing these family stories, we have to act. The facts are clear. Children are not safe at Provo Canyon School. Last month, a child was assaulted inside Provo Canyon School. That child went unconscious. That child was bleeding from the mouth, and Provo Canyon staff did not call 911. They waited over an hour. Then they loaded that child into a van and drove him to a local hospital themselves. The brain bleeds were so severe that he had to be airlifted to a children's hospital. They will call this an isolated incident. So let me remind you about other ones. Exactly 1 year ago, a teenage girl at Provo Canyon School fell severely ill. She experienced days of nausea and vomiting. She couldn't eat, drink, or walk. She begged to see a doctor. She was diagnosed with kidney failure after waiting 10 days for medical care. 10 days. A child begged for a doctor for 10 days inside a licensed treatment facility in the state of Utah while her condition became life-threatening. That is not a lapse in judgment. That is certainly not treatment. To me, this is a pattern of neglect, and the state of Utah has known about these conditions at Provo Canyon School for years. They knew about the teenager who was grabbed by the neck and thrown to the floor by a staff member, suffering a concussion that went undiagnosed for more than a week. They knew about the 14-year-old girl with disabilities who was chemically restrained 17 times in 3 months. Oregon officials had to fly to Utah and bring that child home because of the horrific treatment. They knew about the staff member who punched a child in the face, pulled a child's hair during a restraint, and verbal abuse that state records described as emotional mistreatment. They've known about 29 sex crime investigations in just 4 years, more than 4 times the state average. In a 5-year period, the state opened more than 341 investigations into this one school, and Provo Canyon School is still open. This is not a facility with problems. This is a facility that is the problem. A culture of violence exists inside Provo Canyon School. I know what it feels like to be trapped behind those walls, terrified every day and unable to tell my parents what was happening because staff would immediately hang up the phone and punish me if I tried to say anything about the abuse. I remember lying awake at night, terrified that I would be pulled from my bed by a male staff or assaulted. I remember praying that I would survive and get to see my family again. And it breaks my heart to know that children are still inside that same facility, feeling that same fear that I know too well. Provo Canyon School is owned by Universal Health Services, a Fortune 500 corporation. They have owned it since 2000. Every incident I just described happened under their watch. The state of Utah placed Provo Canyon School on a conditional license after the recent incident. That order expires in 3 days. So I'm asking one simple question. What has changed? Today I'm grateful to stand beside two mothers whose children made it out barely alive. But no mother should have to beg for people to believe her child. No parent should have to fight a billion-dollar corporation just to prove their child deserved care, protection, and basic human dignity. The children still inside Provo Canyon School are telling people that they do not feel safe. When children are begging for help the way that I begged, the way so many children beg, and no one acts, that is a choice. Utah's silence is a choice. UHS's continued operation is a choice. If a child dies, it will not be a tragedy that we couldn't see coming. The warning signs are already here. The state has seen them. Families have lived them. The question is whether anyone will act before another child suffers a preventable tragedy. Utah Department of Licensing, do not let that order expire without action. Do not allow more children to be enrolled into a facility your own records prove is violent and neglectful. You know what happens inside those walls. There is only one answer. Shut it down. Provo Canyon School tried to break me down. They told me I was worthless. They told me that no one loved me. They told me I would amount to nothing in life. But when they locked me in solitary confinement, all I could do to keep myself sane was dream of the life I would build when I got out. I dreamed of becoming strong enough, successful enough, and powerful enough to come back and be the hero that I needed when I was a little girl locked inside. Today is that day, and I am not backing down. Until you shut this facility down, I will keep showing up. I will keep shining a light, and I will not stop, not until every child walks out of Provo Canyon School alive, and not until Provo Canyon School is permanently closed. Thank you.
We are going to take a few questions, and we've got attorneys here representing families. I'm here, and obviously Ms. Hilton's here. So questions? Yeah, Alan, he wants you to break down the lawsuit as much as you can. Jump into your question again. He asked that you break down the lawsuit.
Sure. So we have a lawsuit that's been filed on behalf of Ms. Corona and her minor son. In that lawsuit, we've alleged failure to protect him from another student that they knew was violent. What's most distressing is that we've learned that they allowed this student to kind of escalate as a form of punishing the 13-year-old young man. AC are his initials. And so we filed a lawsuit for failing to protect him from the original assault, and then also for medical neglect in failing to call an ambulance, and failing to take him to a hospital, and failing to call the police. In the second case, we filed a medical malpractice case today for failing to take this young lady to the hospital and allow her condition to deteriorate to the point where she's in total kidney failure, has dialysis 3 times a week, and is going to need that the rest of her life. So we're going to have possible anti-rejection drugs if there's once a transplant's found, and then dialysis to go along with that. So and we're seeking past medical bills, future medical bills, and the main thing in the United States is the loss of the opportunity to pursue happiness, and in Utah, that's a great value that we have. And once people get hurt to a point that they cannot pursue that, we seek general damages. So that's basically the two lawsuits broken down.
Let's take this one. Go ahead. I'll just jump in. It is the licensing. It's managed through the state of Utah through licensing. That is who holds the license today. Obviously, if there's a problem that's criminally related, law enforcement can get involved, and that'd be the jurisdiction of Utah County or Provo or Springville, where those two facilities sit. Okay, other questions? You guys are hot. Thank you for coming out. Okay, let's wrap up. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your story.
Hilton Connect was streaming live at the Provo Historic House, where we saw her give a speech about everything. So where it's known that Paris Hilton's connection to the Provo Historic Courthouse is likely related to her experiences at the Provo Canyon School, a former residential treatment facility located in Provo, Utah. According to various sources, Hilton spent 11 months at the school as a teenager and has since spoken publicly about the alleged physical and emotional she suffered there. So here is a live speech, where she literally expressed and explained everything. So comment, like, share, and also subscribe to the channel. Bye bye and ciao ciao.